Dallas, women's basketball's brightest stars are on Texas' biggest stage this weekend, and the 2023 Women's Final Four kicks off on Friday night. 3 of the 4 Naismith Award finalists will play, led by the long-awaited matchup between newly designated 2023 winner Iowa quarterback Caitlin Clark and 2022 winner South Carolina center Aaliyah Boston. America sees 2 great, amazing basketball players in the same 40 minutes, Iowa head coach Lisa Blutter said on Tuesday. Clark won the award at a ceremony Wednesday at the Reunion Tower, Boston against Maddie Siegrist of Villanova and Elizabeth Kitley of Virginia Tech. Its second year, the Atlanta Tip-Off Club has hosted an event for announcement, and it received a record 750,000 fan votes. The fan vote makes up 5% of the total and is combined with a voting panel. South Carolina players tucked into a left back behind a series of cameras and screamed every time their awards were mentioned, including Dawn Staley's second consecutive Coach of the Year award. The Iowa players stood one step away from them on the right and then claimed they were next in line so they could pose for a team photo after Clark's responsibilities on the media circuit. The 2 stars and their teammates underscore what is expected to be a record-breaking Final Four weekend, with number 2 seeded Iowa facing off against number 1 seeded South Carolina overall at 9:30 p.m. The early semifinals are between LSU number 3 led by Angel Reese and number 1 seeded Virginia Tech. The NCAA Women's Tournament Final Four, clockwise from top left, features star power from Virginia Tech's Elizabeth Kitley, South Carolina's Aaliyah Boston, Iowa's Caitlin Clark and LSU's Angel Reese. Boston and its South Carolina team remain favorites to win championship again for first time in sport since Connecticut's 4 straights ended in 2016. This UConn team was also the last of the 9 excellent teams in women's basketball history. But for first time since 2007, the Huskies aren't playing in final weekend. The story continues instead. The Gamecocks are joined by 3 programs that make triumphant returns, or in one case, an entry, to the semifinals in an era of equality and varying power. None have won a national championship or played in a national championship game. Years ago, there was always same teams and maybe a team that surprised someone by being in the Final Four that wasn't like traditionally rich show, Staley said. The Gamecocks are their 5th Final Four in 2017, winning the first of 2 championships. Dallas. The transfer portal opened the door to instant success for programs that needed an extra track, like LSU, which actually needed 9 tracks in the offseason. There's great benefit in holding a group together to build chemistry, such as the South Carolina senior class dubbed the Freshers, Iowa's 90-game top 5, and Virginia Tech's growth of upperclassmen taking a blind leap of faith. Coach Kenny Brooks. Iowa only made it to the Final Four once, losing to Ohio State in 1993. Hawkeyes broke the seal behind a massive 41-point triple-double from Clark and improved squad contributions. He was expected to face Boston in the district final last March, but Iowa was let down by Creighton in the second round. Comparing 2 is like apples and oranges for Blutter, but duo led Pack for 2 seasons in National Player of Year chat. They both bring completely different skills and are excellent at what they do, Blutter said. LSU advances to the Final Four for the first time since 5 consecutive finals in 2008. Despite being new to the players and having a spin on the program, head coach Kim Mulkey won 3 championships at Baylor. After bringing together a group of transferring freshmen led by double-double star Reese, he may be the first head coach to win a championship in 2 different programs. Just like Staley, her fashion fit on the courtside will draw attention and be talked about on social media. Facing LSU in the semifinals, Virginia Tech makes its first appearance in the Final Four. The Hokies' previous best tournament finish was the Sweet 16 in 1999. They and South Carolina are the only number 1 seeds to reach the final weekend after both Indiana and Stanford jumped before Sweet 16. LSU is a 3 seed. Still, ACC tournament champions who get more than guard Georgia Amawar are often overlooked. With exception of South Carolina, which has won 42 in a row, Hokies have longest streak in country at 15 games. Fans are bored, They get bored of same teams all the time, but if there's a new kid in neighborhood, interest will increase, Brooks said. And I think we're the new kid in the neighborhood right now, relatively speaking because of history, and people will adapt and get excited. Maybe they'll get behind us because I think sometimes people forget that we're the #1 seed. So it's not that frustrating. We're not surprised that we're here. Grief came earlier in tournament, paving way to star-studded Dallas for title game airing on ABC for first time in history. Given the names involved and the 73% year-over-year increase in viewership during Sweet 16, it has record TV viewing speeds. South Carolina and Iowa lead the country in attendance and have held strong fan shows at regional sites. The Gamecocks played 90 minutes away from campus in their home state, while they played nearly 2,000 miles away in Seattle, Iowa. Fans of each team were spotted in Dallas on Tuesday. The first Final Four in 38 years without UConn, Stanford or Tennessee, and all but 4 tournaments. Still, the excitement couldn't be higher for the new wave of women's basketball powers and individual stars. Come Monday morning, he'll either be a clear powerhouse in South Carolina or be a champion for the first time. A Naismith Award winner adds a second trophy or a trophy that delivers on the promises he made to the head coach when hiring him. A head coach who creates his own plan to rebuild another program and do it with new additions, or someone who transforms into a cohesive unit and transforms a culture that sets new standards for the program. All exciting. And it comes at a time when game has never been more popular or culturally involved, with NCAA media rights deal coming to fore amid a push to unpack women's game from everything but football and men's basketball. Teams represent, stories to represent, and if you're really into it, you're going really enjoy what's going on.